Here's the thing. If you're retired or even getting close to retirement, there's a very good chance you've had this exact thought at least once, usually late at night, usually after paying a bill you didn't expect. You look at your retirement income, you look at your expenses, and you think to yourself, I did everything right, so why does this still feel tight? Not desperate, not catastrophic, just tight enough that you notice it every single month and can't quite shake the feeling. Because on paper, your retirement should work. The numbers add up. Social Security is coming in, your savings are there, maybe you even have a small pension. Nothing fancy, nothing extreme, but enough that life should feel manageable. And yet, somehow, the money doesn't feel like it's doing what you thought it would do. It feels like it's leaking, like no matter how careful you are, it disappears faster than expected, even when nothing unusual happens. Now, here's what most people don't realize. In many cases, the problem isn't how much you saved. It isn't even how much you're spending. The real issue is where you're spending it, and more specifically, how the place you live quietly reshapes what your retirement income is actually worth in real life. My name is Alex, and I spend way too much time thinking about retirement money, taxes, cost of living, and why so many Americans feel financially stressed even after they stop working. If you're someone who worries that your retirement income doesn't stretch as far as it should, or that one unexpected expense could throw everything off, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out, because this channel is all about making money decisions clearer and less stressful. Today, we're talking about California versus Texas, not as lifestyle destinations, not politically, and not emotionally, but financially, and specifically through the lens of retirement, because these two states quietly produce very different outcomes for people living on the exact same income, and understanding why that happens can completely change how you think about your own retirement. Look, a lot of people believe that once you retire, the hard part is over. You worked, you saved, you planned, and now the money should just last. And that belief makes sense, but it's also incomplete. Retirement doesn't remove financial pressure, it changes the rules. When you're working, income can grow. When you're retired, income is mostly fixed, which means expenses suddenly matter more than ever. Small differences that felt manageable during your working years become permanent features of your life in retirement. You don't get to offset them with a raise or extra hours. They simply repeat every month, quietly shaping how comfortable or stressful retirement feels over time. This is where the comparison between California and Texas really becomes interesting. Let's talk through a realistic example, not a fantasy and not an extreme case. Imagine a retiree receiving around $3,000 a month from Social Security and savings combined. That's not rich, but it's extremely common. Millions of Americans are right in this range, trying to make that income last for decades. Now, here's the math most people never actually do. If your baseline cost of living is higher by just $800 a month, that's $9,600 a year. Over 10 years, that's almost $100,000, and that's without inflation. Same income, same person, two completely different retirements, all because of where that money is being spent. This is where location quietly takes control of your retirement, starting with taxes. Now you might be thinking, okay, but everyone pays taxes, right? Not exactly. Texas has no state income tax. California does. That means from day one, more of your retirement income stays with you in Texas, while in California, a portion of it is taken before you ever touch it. Here's what most people don't realize. Even if the percentage doesn't sound huge, when your income is fixed, every dollar lost to taxes is a dollar you can't replace. You can't work overtime in retirement. You can't negotiate a raise. That difference compounds quietly year after year without any dramatic moment, just a constant background pressure. Housing is where this really starts to hit home. Housing is not optional, it's not flexible, and in retirement, it's permanent. In many parts of California, housing costs alone can consume a large share of a modest retirement income, even without luxury and even without excess. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance quietly stack on top of each other month after month. Now, compare that to many parts of Texas where housing costs are lower, options are broader, and the same retiree can keep housing at a much more manageable portion of income. That gap isn't about comfort or lifestyle, it's about margin. Margin is what allows you to breathe financially. It's what protects you when something goes wrong. And here's the psychological part most people ignore. When money is tight every single month, even if you're technically okay, it changes how you think. You hesitate before going to the doctor. You think twice about visiting family. You avoid small joys because you're subconsciously protecting yourself from future uncertainty. This is where retirement stress really comes from, not poverty, but fragility. Texas tends to offer more financial margin. California tends to demand more constant attention. Neither is evil, and neither choice is automatically wrong, but they create very different emotional experiences over time. Retirement is not just a financial equation, it's a mental one. Healthcare adds another layer to this. Now you might be thinking, Medicare is federal, so healthcare should be the same everywhere. Here's the thing. Medicare is federal, but costs are not. Supplemental plans, provider pricing, and out-of-pocket expenses vary widely by location, and those differences become more important as you age, not less. In higher-cost states, healthcare often feels like one more thing that could spike unexpectedly, forcing you to dip into savings or make uncomfortable trade-offs. In lower-cost states, it's still an issue, but it's easier to absorb within a fixed income, which reduces anxiety and increases predictability. Inflation quietly widens this gap even further. Inflation doesn't hurt everyone equally. If your baseline costs are already high, inflation hits harder. A small percentage increase on a high-cost structure feels brutal. On a lower-cost structure, it's still painful but survivable. Over 10 or 15 years of retirement, that difference can completely reshape your lifestyle. Here's something else people rarely talk about. As you age, your tolerance for complexity goes down. Long drives feel harder, complicated paperwork feels heavier, even small inconveniences start to add up in ways they never did before. This is why financial simplicity becomes more valuable with age than financial upside. And this is where state-level costs quietly influence your retirement experience in ways you don't notice at first, but absolutely feel over time. When your cost structure is high, every decision feels like it requires justification. When your cost structure is lower, decisions feel lighter, even when the outcome is the same. That difference affects how often you say yes to plans, how comfortable you feel spending on experiences, and how much mental energy you dedicate to money every day. This is also why many retirees don't regret moving for financial reasons, but they do regret waiting too long to understand the trade-offs. Moving earlier gives you more control, more options, and more energy to adapt. Moving later often feels reactive, rushed, and emotionally heavier. This doesn't mean everyone should pack up and move tomorrow, but it does mean you should understand the financial gravity of where you live before it quietly pulls on every part of your retirement. Because retirement is not just 1 year or 5 years, it's often 20 or 30 years of living on decisions you made earlier. Over that length of time, small monthly differences become life-shaping outcomes, not through drama, but through repetition. This is why looking at cost of living, taxes, and healthcare together matters more than focusing on any single factor in isolation. It's the combination that determines whether your retirement feels stable or constantly demanding. California and Texas simply make this contrast easier to see, but the principle applies everywhere. The real goal is not to chase the cheapest place or the most exciting place, but the place where your money supports your life instead of controlling it. Because the best retirement is not the one that looks impressive from the outside, but the one that feels sustainable on the inside. And when your retirement feels sustainable, everything else becomes easier, from health decisions to relationships to how you experience each day. So here's the bottom line. Retirement is not about winning, it's about lasting. It's about stability, predictability, and peace of mind. California and Texas show us one powerful truth. Your retirement income has a value, but that value changes dramatically depending on where you live. And the sooner you understand that, the more control you have over the years that matter most. If this helped you think differently about retirement, hit the like button, subscribe for more honest money conversations, and let me know in the comments where you think retirement money actually works best.